Speaking portion of the meeting, we have a sign-up sheet at the podium that you could put your name and address, and we'll call you at the proper time. Okay. Good. I'd like to call this meeting to order. November 12th, 7:30. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. And please have a roll call.
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Here.
Alderman Coop.
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress. Here. Alderman Worthington.
Here.
Alderman Carey.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman O'Reilly.
Here.
Alderman Shabbat.
Here.
Alderman Schott.
Here.
We have a quorum. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are adopted, 9-0. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's adopted, 9-0. We now will enter into the public speaking portion of the meeting. A 30-minute allotment time has been set aside for this purpose. And when addressing the council, please direct your comments to the council chair, and for the aldermen cannot engage in debate. And please give your name and address for the record. Thank you. First speaker. No one has signed up. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the council at this time? Seeing no one, I'll now declare the public speaking portion of the meeting closed. We now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they'll be on file in the clerk's office. We now enter into resolutions, I believe. Let me see. That's on the back. Oh, can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills and pay same? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The bills are paid, 9-0. We now enter into report of committees, starting with resolution number 211.
Resolution 211 of 2019. An ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking at 103 Hone Street.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 212.
Resolution 212 of 2019. A resolution asking New York State for permission to reduce speed limits from 30 miles per hour to 25 miles per hour in appropriate areas of the city of Kingston, New York.
On the question, Alderman Scott Childress.
Mr. President, I would like to move that we send this back to committee. We have recently discovered that the city actually has the power to reduce speed limits so long as we follow the criteria set forth by the New York State approved manual for doing such things. And so since there's no need for this permission, I would like to move that we send it back to committee.
I have a motion to send back. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, on the question to refer back. Hearing no one, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is referred back, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 213.
Resolution 213 of 2019. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2019 budgetary transfer in the Engineering Department to cover the expense of a full-time employee.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 214.
Resolution 214 of 2019. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2019 budgetary transfer of $32,800 in the 2019 DPW budget to cover shortfalls to increase funding for future needs.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 215.
Resolution 215 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2019 budgetary transfer in the Health and Well-Being Department to cover the expense of 2 educational seminars.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 216.
Resolution 216 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a 2019 budgetary transfer of $1,100 in the Office of Grants and Management budget to cover the cost of a new computer.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 217.
Resolution 217 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to execute any and all related documents and expend funds in the first instance for the municipal multimodal project PIN number 8MA428.30A, grant awarded in 2019 from the New York State Department of Transportation for the reconfiguration and rehabilitation of the intersection of Broadway, Grand Street, Prince Street, and Pine Grove Avenue.
On the question, Alderman Scott Childress, and then Alderman Shabbat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be voting in favor of this. I think this is an important project. This intersection is a dangerous one. It's very poorly configured. And if we are going to be spending this huge amount of money to improve Broadway from the I-587 interchange down to the railroad bridge, it only makes sense that we fix this intersection as well. So I'd like to thank Assemblyman Cahill for making this money available to us through the New York State Assembly and its processes there so that this portion of the project will cost the City of Kingston nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Shabbat.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be supporting this also for a variety of reasons. One, as Mr. Scott Childress said, it's a very confusing intersection. There's been dozens of accidents there over the last couple of years. We have an opportunity to correct that. As far as a business going in there, I really can't envision a business going in there. It's difficult in and out. We saw one business decide against it because it was just too difficult. And this is a way we can kind of control our own destiny. We can decide what's going in there rather than allow, anybody to bid on that property. Although I really don't think anybody's going to take any chances there. And thirdly, and certainly not least, it gives us a golden opportunity to really beautify a section of Broadway that really needs some beautification there. And at the same time, we can honor the memory of the post office. It's always been a topic of conversation. At least we can have something there to remind us all not to do that again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Carey.
Yes, thanks, Mr. President. I grew up on Pine Grove Avenue, so I've been looking at that intersection for 50-plus years. And everything that's already been said, I don't need to reiterate, but I just want to add that this is just another example of when government works together and people have the right mindset to make things happen. This is another example that Kingston is getting something done for pennies on the dollar with this help from the state. It's huge, just like with Henry Street, and while that road's opened up, we're fixing the sewer and the pipes underneath from another grant, and of course the 587 as well. So I think it's just a great trend that we're able to do these types of projects for a fraction of the cost that we would normally incur if we had to do it ourselves. So again, thanks to the state for helping on that one.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 218.
Resolution 218 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving community development block grant fund transfer.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. We now move to resolution number 219.
Resolution 219 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs for the Broadway Streetscape Transportation Federal Aid Project and appropriating funds therefor.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 9-0. Now we move to second reading and vote of local law number 2.
Local Law Number 2 of 2019, a local law to establish a sustainable energy loan program, Open CPACE, in the City of Kingston.
On the question? Hearing, Alderman Scott Childress.
Sorry, we're on the law number 2, right?
Yep.
Yes, okay. I will definitely be voting in favor of this. I think this is an exciting opportunity that we have not made enough use of because it will allow for residents of Kingston to find a cheaper, more efficient way to enter into solar power by being able to use a different process than simply buying the panels themselves in order to put solar panels on their roofs. So I think this is a great idea because we really are pushing hard in the city to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels, and this is a great way to do it. And I hope we'll be able to put some money toward actually advertising this program throughout the city so that more residents can take advantage of it in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Local law is adopted, 9-0. We now move to first reading, no action on local law number 3.
Local Law 3 of 2019 of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the assessor to accept late filings of seniors for exemption pursuant to Real Property Tax Law 467, Subdivision 8-A, and recommending a negative declaration of environmental significance.
Thank you very much. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, is there anything else? Alderman Coop.
Mr. President, I would like to close the meeting in remembrance of Josephine Smith, who passed away a couple of weeks ago, age 83, and to her 2 sons and her husband, Donald. But what struck me when I read the obituary for Josephine was when it was clear that all the rents were being increased in Dutch Village. The first of probably 30 calls, at least, that I received came from Josephine Smith complaining about the huge increase in rent. And subsequent to that, I was led to understand that she had a very serious fall, which led to her death. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Shabbat.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to close tonight's meeting a member of Donna Washington, lifelong resident of Kingston, worked here just about her whole life at J.B. Back Cigar Company, remember that, and Gateway Industries, very active in the King's Fire Church. She leaves behind her parents, Leroy and Agnes Washington, as well as her brother Leroy, who was recently retired from DPW, and a long list of relatives also. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Scott Childress, and then Alderman O'Reilly.
I'd like to close the meeting in honor of Dr. Avery Leet Smith. He died just a few weeks ago. Avery was a veterinarian here in the area for a long time. A sign of his good sense was that he moved here after graduating from veterinary school in 1965, worked for a long time at Hoppenstedt, and then in 1990 he opened his own Hurley Veterinary Hospital and ran that for 20 years. They lived over on Noon Street. He's been a really invaluable consultant for me, talking about politics in general, understanding some really important things about both animals in the city, but also just general approach to thinking about government. He had retired in 2000, remained very active with the Veterinary Medical Association, and was also one of the board members of the Friends of Historic Kingston. So he's been very much involved in city issues, and he will be sorely missed by his wife, Mary Stephanie Corsones, as well as all of his neighbors and those of us in the Third Ward who've benefited from his good sense.
Thank you. Alderman O'Reilly.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to close in honor of John Sellers from Hurley, New York. He's a lifelong resident of Kingston, New York. He's a wonderful man about my age, and I remember him when we were growing up in the neighborhood. He was a quiet guy, paid his taxes, did what he needed to do, didn't want anybody to bother him. Just a nice guy, didn't take from anybody, contributed to society, lived next to Rennie on Lounsbury Place when he grew up. And just a real nice guy, John Sellers, and I'm gonna miss him. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing no one else, can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait a minute. I just want to congratulate everyone that has chose to run and was successful this last week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We hereby stand adjourned until the next regular scheduled meeting. Thank you very much.